Welcome back to Foiling Week 2022, and a little diversion from our forum, but we have a special announcement today. Foiling Week is really about moving forward ideas, connecting our community, and doing really great things. So I'll let our guests talk about that, but for right now, I will introduce who our guests are and then start the discussion, or at least start the announcement. So right now to my left, I have Luca Rosati, and then I have Bruno, the founder of Foiling Week. Then I have Bruno Gentoli, who's Foiling Week's Director of Operations. I got that correct? And then we have Scott Over, who is the Commercial Director for World Sailing. So we're really excited to have World Sailing always involved with Foiling Week. And on our screen, all the way from China, we have Li Li, who's the Managing Director of China Sports and Communications International. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Li Li, but welcome. And then Aaron Young from the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. So welcome from around the world. As usual, we bring people from all over the place to Foiling Week. And I will reintroduce Luca Rosati and Bruno Gentoli from Foiling Week to start the announcement.
Thank you, Chris, and welcome everyone, especially welcome Lily and welcome Aaron to join our announcement. At Foiling Week, we have been doing events overseas for a while. Then we were stopped, of course, by COVID. We were going to do a few events together with the CAP back then, so we got in touch with the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. But once the last CAP cycle finished, we decided to develop a new program dedicated to youth. So we started again a discussion with Aaron, which is the Commodore of the Royal New Zealand Squadron, and also with Lily, representing China and supporting this group, and of course with World Sailing, with Scott Over to develop this new series. So we are basically launching a series that is going to be called the Foiling Youth World Series. This is the new logo that we just developed. Of course, it is very clearly similar to the one that we use for Foiling Week. And the aim of this series is to develop basically a series dedicated to young, talented sailors, that we provide a pathway for them to become professionals and then access elite sailing events, such as, for example, the Cup or SailGP or GC32 and so on. The event is being created, of course, based on Foiling Week main values and system. As you may know, Foiling Week is one of the 8 special events. Special events is a category from World Sailing that basically put together the pinnacle of sailing events. So we are together with the America's Cup, SailGP, the Ocean Race, the World Match Race Tour, the PWA World Tour, the Star Sailors League, and the GKA Kite World Tour. Of course, we are the new kids on the block. We are learning our ropes, but we are eager to keep moving around the world and to do more for foiling. What is the Foiling Youth World Series? Is basically a team competition of foiling boats that is dedicated to young sailors with the age between 16 and 24. And again, the scope is to develop a pathway in foiling specific that will get them to become true professional in foiling. And the sailors that will be part of teams that represent the most influential yacht clubs and sailing clubs in the world that will compete for a world title. The series is going to start in 2023. It will be made by 4 to 5 events. These events will take place around the globe. We still have to define the locations. We have selected, let's say, 10, and out of these 10, we will then go down to 4 to 5 to make sure that we get the best that is possible for the series. Of course, being Foiling Week, the series will promote and support the values that are typical of Foiling Week, for which we are quite well known, which is diversity and inclusion, sustainability, and safety. We will have a big on-shore program, same as Foiling Week again, so guests and sailors, families, and everyone will be able to access trials of boats, conferences, exhibitions, and there will also be the possibility of try out virtual simulators, very similar to the one that the sailors use to professionally develop their skills. Diversity and inclusion, just to go quickly a little more into the most important elements of the series, is again very, very important for us. For example, we are dedicating Foiling Week 2022 to Back to Bid, which is the aim to integrate parasailing into the Olympics from late 2028. But for example, another important element is gender equity. So we want to be, from day one of the series, gender equal. We want to have 50-50 representation of men and women in the series.
Yeah, thank you, Luca. So following on the series, the two other aspects that we're going to focus on is sustainability and safety. Being the founder of the Sumo Challenge, it's something that touches me quite deeply. So sustainability is one of the pillars of Foiling Week, and we want to be as sustainable, as environmental sustainable as possible. So all these initiatives that we started with Foiling Week, from banning the single-use plastics in Lake Garda to promoting more sustainable practices with the Sumo Challenge, will also be included into the series to push that all over the world, along with this push that we will have with the top sailors in the world. Of course, safety is a big part of foiling. We are starting to go really fast on these vessels. We need to keep it safe. So far, we've been quite successful. We need to keep it like that. So we're gonna develop procedures to avoid accidents in the race course. Then have some workshops on water on how to run the ribs along a race course with foiling boats, usually foiling boats that are faster than the ribs. So that's a key point for us, especially on bigger events. And one of the other pioneering things that we've done with Foiling Week is running an injury prevention research in foiling that is still running since 2017.
The classes that we plan to use in the series are the classes that the youth is already using at the moment. So we will use, we are planning to use the mod class, which we call an aspirational class. Probably it's where the most talented pool of sailors will end up from the beginning. We may open the age group a little in the mod class at the beginning. Then we will have for youth development WASP or the recently launched Switch as a possible alternative. The NACRA 15 FCS, which is let's say the little brother of the Olympic NACRA 17. It is still a full foiling boat. And then we are thinking to use the Persico 69F as a match race training boat. Then we have some boards, and here the expert is Bruno.
So regarding the boards, of course, it's something that gets the attention of many of the youth. So I think it will be an excellent tool to push on that. So of course, the IK Youth Foil class as a youth development has been already proven at the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires some years ago. The IQ Foil Youth, it's something we see here in Lake Garda every morning. There's a lot of kids pushing for that. They will, all of them, they want to get in the Olympics. So we think it's a great support to go with it. And of course, wing foiling, it's something that it's ramping up exponentially. So it's something that we want to also use as a development class. The accessibility is great. So we believe we're going to have a lot of youth interested on these 3 boards also.
One of the things that we will do for boards and boats is we will try to dedicate one of the days or one of the afternoons to exchanging boards with boats. So we want the sailors that are sailing on the boats to go on the boards, and the sailors that go on the boards to try the boats, because we believe that foiling benefits a lot from trying different equipment, and you really learn quicker if you have access to more equipment, whether it's a board or a boat. The plan in terms of events, as you see from the map, is to go in China, of course, Australia or New Zealand, then in the Middle East. Recently we had quite a long, let's say, event in the Kingdom of Saudi, in Jeddah. We plan to go to Europe, for sure, in the Mediterranean, and in the North America, in the United States. So this is the current plan, where the 10 locations that we are discussing are based. How will you enter the series? This is basically the core of the system and how we believe this should work. So the entries are open to entities such as yacht clubs, sailing professional teams. So for example, take a professional team that is either in the Cup or CGP or in the Ocean Race. They can have their own youth team joining the series, or federations as well. And it can also be a single entity or a group of entities. For example, there are entities out there, like, let me make an example, like Dutch Sail, which is made of 3 different yacht clubs. That's a perfect situation for us. We just want to deal with a single entity on the other side. So this single entity will then enter with all sailors, which means the 7 participants in the classes that you just have seen. So there will be 7 sailors, basically 1 on the Mott, 1 on the Water Switch, 2 on the NACRA 15, and 1 each on the other 3 boards. They have to be with an age group between 16 and 24, with at least 3 women in the team. And that's what we are creating is practically a foiling Admiral's Cup. For sure, lots of you are familiar with this great event.
So as part of the youth development activities, as we've been doing during Foiling Week and the Sumo Challenge, along with hundreds of university students, is during the event we're gonna have some master classes in foiling basics and physics, boat building and repair, so manufacturing, and some kind of a class-specific playbook. So everyone who wants to join has the same basis as everyone else when beginning. The round the year initiatives, again, we're going to have some mentoring for following up the sailors, not just at the event, so we can keep the relationship with all the sailors, having some data analysis and coaching from the events, so analyzing whatever's been there, so we can improve offline, following specific physical training, mental coaching, and of course something that it's really important is dietary planning to have to be as sufficient as possible while racing. A point that we want to emphasize is the legacy plan. We want to leave our mark there. It's not just an event, and we want to remain leave our traces there. So all the trials and coaching that we're going to be doing will stay the week after the event. So we're going to make the boats accessible to the locals for a week. The boats can remain at the event location for them to be used by the locals after that.
What is the aim of this series at the end? It's between us, we basically call it the University of Foiling, that happens to have events. That's the reason why we have this around the year program, because we believe that it's important to keep a strong connection with all the sailors that will enter the series, to make sure that they continuously develop their skills in every sector, whether it's the tactics, the learnings, any kind of preparation that is useful to become proficient, and not just proficient, but also professionals. That's the whole idea. So the Falling Youth World Series is, as you have seen, quite an interesting new development, and of course we have been developing it together with Lily from China Sport Industry Group, from Scott Over from World Sailing, and with Aaron Yang, Commodore from the Royal New Zealand Squadron. And I think it's now time to hear what they have to say. And Chris will handle the Q&A.
Awesome. This is a really big deal. And what's great about Foiling Week is that, we're not a member nation authority of World Sailing. We are part of a community that works with World Sailing and people from around the world. We know at Foiling Week that foiling's all about trying new ideas, going into the unknown, coming up with these ideas, but we can't do it alone. And it's really fantastic to have some strong support from really awesome stakeholders. And let's hear about the relationship that we can have with our guests. And so what we'll do is we'll go right to Aaron Young from New Zealand. And, Aaron, tell us what the connection is with the Yacht Squadron and the Foiling Youth World Series.
Well, firstly, thanks for having me. Look, it goes back a little while, and I think as a world-leading yacht club, and obviously at the moment, holders of the America's Cup, which is a foiling event, we really would like to be able to support, lead up and pathway style events such as the Foiling Week, and the Youth Foiling Series just ties in perfectly with the program of training youth and enhancing youth and bridging that gap between clubs and professional sailing. And our relationship also dates back a fair way with Lily at the China Sports Industry Group, who we've been discussing with a number of years around developing the sport as a whole in China. So looking forward to it. Great initiative.
Thanks, Aaron. And Lily, how about for China Sports? It's really fantastic to know pretty early on that you're going to have a partner overseas for a new location. So please share with us your thoughts about the Foiling Youth World Series.
Well, as Aaron already mentioned, that we kind of started talking to them about the cooperation to develop the young people, the younger generation sailing, especially foiling, which is now the center of international premier racing. And we always believe that's the future for sailing, and especially for young people. The earlier they picked up, the better, because they enjoy the race, enjoy the practice, enjoy foiling. Unfortunately, because due to the pandemic, we cannot travel, and a lot of plans we discussed could not really be materials in the end. So we really wish that 2023 the border is open and the travel limits is eased. We can make all of these dreams, the development ideas coming true. And at that time, when we were discussing with Aaron about foiling young sailors and so Youth America's Cup, which is the focus of our cooperation, was all about young people foiling. So at the same time, when we actually look at the Foiling Week, they're all talking about that as well. So I think for all three parties here, it's really like, we're sharing the mission, we're sharing the ideas, and we're sharing a lot of plans to develop the young sailors for the future in hydrofoiling community. I think that's bring us together. So likewise, looking forward to work with everyone and bring the events to the world.
Great, Lily. Thank you. It really is like a dream scenario where all of a sudden, like Aaron said too, it makes, like, you saw this and it made perfect sense and you wanted to be a part of it. We are all often under the umbrella of World Sailing. So let's talk to Scott Over and see how Foiling Youth World matches with the ideas of World Sailing.
Well, thank you. I think, first of all, thank you for hosting me. As always, it's a pleasure to be in Garda, and when the backdrop of Garda isn't necessarily the most attractive thing to look at. When you've got Foiling Week on the water, it's really summarises what you guys are doing here. At World Sailing, we use special events to collaborate with. We know that we can't do what we want to do with regards to sustainability, promotion, inclusion, diversity, etc., without our partners. And so first of all, thank you very much for assisting us with that. I think what you're trying to achieve here with both Foiling Week and now this new Youth World Tour is going to be fantastic. And I know it's going to be a success because you are so collaborative. I think from World Sailing headquarters, we know that there's so many people back in London that really appreciate the way that you work with us and the yes to every opportunity that we ask. I think the inclusion piece that we're discussing, Foiling Week this week, you've chosen Back the Bid as your social campaign, and we only discussed with you maybe a month ago to do that, and the speed in which you operated was just incredible to promote parasailing, to host para athletes, and to work so collaboratively with us. Inclusion is a huge thing for us, and you mentioned gender equity, and your promotion of steering the course with us has been fantastic, and it continues to be a core part of Foiling Week. And if I look back to 3 years ago when we started this process to make Foiling Week a special event, you really have overachieved, and thank you so much for assisting with us. I think going into sustainability still remains a core principle of World Sailing, and our sustainability charter and the way in which you work with us is fantastic. The Sumoth Challenge, which Bruno leads up, I know has been an unbelievable success this week, and ensuring that more points are awarded for teams with female helms is also a great collaboration. So on behalf of World Sailing, we're really pleased to see this initiative take off. Really great to see development and participation at the forefront, and looking forward to seeing it start.
Thank you, Scott. Chris?
Sweet. Bruno, you had something to add to that in terms of the matching of the values of Foiling with World Sailing. I mean, Scott, you pretty much covered it. But Bruno, I know it's really important to Foiling Week to make these partnerships, and this is just a starting point, right? Because we have lots of students from around the world here, lots of young sailors from around the world here. It's a big focus. Do you see this as just the tip of the spear as far as connecting the youth with everything that Foiling Week does and all of our stakeholders?
Yeah, absolutely. We see it like this week with especially with the Sumo Challenge. I think the youth series became much more evident to us, having more than 100 students on site, preparing their boats to go racing and sailing and foiling. And then cheering all together at night, like we experienced yesterday evening. That's incredible. On the discussions that we have with the sailors that are all female, which is awesome.
Incredible.
Some of them, like Hattie Rogers, that actually yesterday they got their degree in naval architecture and yacht design. Their goal is to become professional sailors. So there's this legacy and there's master classes and all this technical background that we also want to develop on sailors, for them to be not only professional sailors in sport, but also part of the whole program, whether it is sustainability, safety, and also the technical part, plus becoming the best sailors in the world.
Awesome. Great, everyone. Well, I just wanted to point out that I think it's really fantastic that these kind of ideas, just like we talked about with Back the Bid, that starts with a phone call and an idea. And Lily and Aaron, it probably seems like forever ago that the first call you made to each other to just say, what do we do with the young people and foiling, and to bridge these gaps that we see that the pioneers in foiling just had to do, and you're trying to help everyone out make these connections. I think it's fantastic. Just like with everything new, it starts with just a phone call, and this event is just a big version of that, getting everyone together, saying, how can we see a void? How do we fill that void? And I guess I want to close on something very important. We're talking about the parts of sustainability and these influences and creating an event around the world. But what this really comes down to is giving something really rare in this world, which is some clarity for the young sailors around the world to have something to aim for. You have the Olympics, and you can aim for the Olympics, but even for any young sailor, it's even complicated in their own sailing club or in their own region or in their own MNA. And so here is something that a global community with these pioneers here in this room and everyone that stands behind you, we're creating something that gives the sailors something very clear, something up high to aim for. That's why I think it's fantastic that there's a star in this presentation. It's a very clear place for athletes and students to aim for, and it's a clear place for organizations and M&As to say, I want to host this event, or I want to support create something, a pathway to the Foiling Youth World Series. So I think that's fantastic. The byproduct is these lessons of diversity, equity, sustainability, and safety, going to new parts of the world. China and New Zealand are really far away for a lot of people, and Europe is really far away for people in China and New Zealand and all over the world. So I can't be more excited. Does anyone else have anything they want to add?
I'm so looking forward to start this series next year. I think it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, we have lots of interest already from clubs and M&As around the world. We have interest from locations. If you're watching these and you want to be part of this, just talk to us. You know where to find us.
It's that easy.
Yeah, phone call away, like everything else.
Awesome.
Chris, one thing I'd just like to mention, Luca's enthusiasm for this whole project has never waned, and I think that is why where we're at today. He's driven this, and well done. And the youth of today are so lucky; they're so fortunate that this sort of opportunity and events coming around. So, well done, Luca and team.
Thank you for your support, Aaron. Thank you. I'm waiting to.
Great, everyone. Well, we're going to end this announcement. We can go on. I'm just so stoked. I can't wait to see it. It's like any project. If it existed today, would it be a success? We can all say yes. And so let's make it happen.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. We're going to keep rolling. Aaron, Lily, you're just part of a big list of sessions today, but this is a really important one. So thanks so much for tuning in. And we're going to roll right into the next session. And thank you, everyone, for joining Foiling Week 2022. And congratulations on the announcement of the Foiling Youth World Series. Thanks for being pioneers. And we can't wait to see it unroll in the next year.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Lily. Speak soon.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you all.